Hello to all anime lovers. I want to tell you about a separate film based on the anime Naruto called Saving the Princess of the Land of Snow. Before you start watching, I will ask you to put a like and subscribe to the channel. For me, it's a strong motivation and support. It all starts with Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura watching a movie about Princess Fung standing on the ceiling in a movie theater. Then a security guard approached them thinking that the guys were without tickets, but Sasuke showed that there were tickets. Later, it turned out that the guys watched this film about the princess on the orders of Kakashi, as it is somehow connected with their new mission. Going outside, the guys began to share their impressions of the film. Next, they saw Princess Fung galloping on a horse who was running away from a whole bunch of warriors. The guys went to save the princess. When the warriors caught up with the princess, they threw a net at her, but Naruto managed to cut the net with his shurikens, and after that he created a bunch of clones and detained the warriors. As a result, the princess managed to escape, but she was again caught up by the warriors, and it turned out that it was no longer Princess Fung but Sakura who had turned into her. The real Princess Fung escaped and Naruto went after her. At this time, Sasuke came to Sakura's aid and put the squad leader to sleep. The warriors saw this and began to retreat, but Sakura stood in their way. In the end, she and Sasuke tied them up. Then Kakashi appeared, he freed the warriors and apologized to them. It turned out that the guys tied up the customer of the mission. His name is Sandao. He is an assistant to the actress who played the princess, whose real name is Yuki Fujikaze. Now the new mission of Team Number 7 is to protect Yuki. But at this time, the escaped Yuki stopped to drink her horse, and at the same moment Naruto caught up with her. He began to rejoice at the fact that the same princess was standing in front of him. Yuki mounted a horse and pushed Naruto into the water, but Naruto caught up with Yuki and jumped on her horse. Children suddenly appeared on their way and Naruto and the princess fell from their horse. The children began to rejoice that they had met a real princess. But she replied that she was not a princess, but just an actress. After that, the actress escaped, but Naruto continued to pursue her. Yuki tried to disguise herself and hide from him in this way, but our hero effortlessly bit her. He again asked her for an autograph. When Naruto looked at her necklace, Yuki thought Naruto was looking at her breasts. She used a cunning trick, then Naruto, who saw nothing, touched the beam. He was overwhelmed with wooden bars and the princess left. Meanwhile, Kakashi told Sakura and Sasuke that their current mission was to accompany the princess. They were hired as the princess's bodyguards. They were also approached by several actors who played in the film together with Yuki, and it turned out that they all had to go to the Land of Snow together, and so Yuki began to run away as she learned that the continuation of the film would be shot in the Land of Snow where she herself came from. Then in the evening we were shown Yuki, who was drunk. Sitting in a bar, she looked at her necklace, and she also reasoned that going to the Land of Snow was stupid. A man stood up from a nearby table and headed in her direction, but suddenly Naruto appeared and frightened him off. Naruto started telling Yuki for running away and that no matter how great an actress she is, you can't treat your fans like that. In response, Yuki chuckled and said that the work of an actress is the worst job on earth. Next, Sandao and Team Number 7 ran into the bar and informed the princess that the ship to the Land of Snow was leaving soon. Yuki immediately refused to swim. Sandao tried to persuade her, but he did not succeed. Kakashi intervened and used Genjutsu to put Yuki to sleep. It also turned out that the guy who was in the bar is one of the bandits working for Duto, the current ruler of the country of Snow. He hunts for the hexagonal crystal that is around Yuki's neck. Next, we were shown Dato himself, who was informed that Yuki had been discovered after 10 years of searching. They also realized that Yuki was accompanying Kakashi, with whom the bandits crossed paths 10 years ago. As a result, when Yuki came to her senses, she realized that she was sailing on a ship to the Land of Snow. The film crew continued their filming on the ship. During this shooting, it was revealed that for all her talent, Yuki can't squeeze tears out of herself, and so the scene where you need to cry Yuki takes eye drops to create artificial tears. Team Number 7 is watching. They landed on a giant iceberg and the director decides to continue shooting on the iceberg. During this filming, an incomprehensible explosion occurs on the mountain, after which Duto's subordinates appear. Fubuki, Mizora, and Ryoga. They came for the hexagonal crystal of Aryuka. Kakashi immediately orders Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura to guard Yuki, and he goes to Ryoga and they begin to fight. Meanwhile, Mizora gets up on a snowboard and heads towards the princess. Naruto and Sasuke start fighting him. Fubuki joins this fight and attacks with his technique. But Sasuke responds with a fireball. Mizora beats Naruto but is saved by Kakashi, and Sensei also talks about the armor of the chakras that cover the bandits. The bandits begin to combine their attacks and they almost manage to capture the princess. But at the last moment, Sakura joins in and interferes, which is why Mizora decides to kill Sakura, but Naruto appears and rebuffs the big man. Mizora attacks again, but Naruto activates the Nine-Tail Chakra and continues to fight him on an equal footing. Meanwhile, Fubuki creates an ice prison, but Sasuke responds again with fire technology. Still, she manages to free Sasuke, but it turns out that he deceived her and used the technique of an explosive briefcase. He tied Fubuki to a large ice, but the bandit used her wings and was able to dodge. All the while, Yuki sat in shock at her childhood memories. She started a tantrum and says she doesn't want to go back to the land of snow. This distracted Naruto and Mizora tossed him back. After that, the bandit shot his iron hand at the princess, but she was protected by Sakura, and the mercenary threw her with all his might on the ice. Kakashi saw all this and realized that it was time for him to be more serious. He uses the Sharingan and copies the technique of the one-legged and attacks him with his own technique. As a result, Kakashi destroys the iceberg and the team, along with the princess, retreat. It also turned out that this whole fight was filmed by the film crew. Already on the ship, Kakashi saw the crystal. Yuki said that it had been a whole 10 years. Then the ship arrived at the port of the country of snow. It turned out that Fujikad's Yuki is also a fictitious name of the actress and the real Kazuhana Kayuki, and she is really the princess of the land of snow and the heiress of this country. Sandao said that when he was still young, in those days these lands were ruled by Kaizen Nazetsu. Then the country of snow was a small peaceful country, but exactly 10 years ago the country was attacked by Dato, the younger brother of Sasetsu. He hired rebel ninjas to help him and seized power in this country. On this day, the princess was rescued by a young Kakashi. After some time, Sandao met the princess when she performed on the stage of the Mali Theater and began to take care of her. Then Yuki joined the conversation. She said it had been a long time and her tears had long since dried up. But Sandao said that he became a producer in order to return the princess to her rightful lands through filming. He knelt down and said that the villain Dato should be overthrown by the princess and Kayuki should become the queen of these lands. Sandao vowed that he would protect the princess in every way possible, even at the cost of his own life. However, the princess refused and ordered to stop. She said it wasn't her business, and no matter how hard they tried not to overthrow Dato, it was easier to give up. Naruto hits the table and tells the princess not to utter the words to surrender in his presence. Naruto also gave an inspiring speech about Sandao and also added that if the princess refuses to return the rightful throne, he will never forgive her. As a result, the director liked Naruto's words and he decided to change the plot of the film and continue shooting, as it is a great honor to make a film with a real princess. The final point in this conversation was set by Kakashi. He said that there is one problem, that they now have nowhere to hide from Dato and therefore the only way to survive is to fight. Kakashi also wants to return to the Leaf Village and ask for help, but Sasuke says that one number 17 will be enough for such a mission and they go deep into the land of snow. On the way, they stop to relieve themselves, while Kayuki escapes again. Kakashi and the team go in search of her. The fleeing Kayuki stumbles and loses consciousness. We are shown her memories with her father and then Naruto finds her. He takes her on her back and says she's already fed up with her antics. When Naruto and Kayuki pass through the tunnel, suddenly rails appear under their feet. It turns out that chakra was passed through these rails. Sandao saw this and realized that Dato's men were approaching and ran up the mountain. At this time, Naruto and Kayuki saw the train and began to run away from it. The train stops and Duto appears. He says he is happy to meet him because he has been looking for Kayuki for 10 years. Suddenly, logs fly from the mountain to the train, which were thrown off by warriors led by Sandao. The warriors decided to attack Dato, but they were all fired upon from the train and they all died. Suddenly, Sasuke appeared, picked up the wounded Sandao and at the same time threw an explosive kunai into the train car. Sakura at this point caused an avalanche and Duto retreated, losing half of the train in the process. Wounded Sandao apologizes to the princess for dragging her into it all and dying. Kayuki again said that she would leave the country and return home, but Naruto asked where she would return, because this country is her home. Suddenly, an airship appears, Mizora captures the princess with his iron hand and Naruto at the last moment manages to cling to him. Already on board the airship, Dato asks her where the hexagonal crystal is, to which she replies that he is with her. Dato said that the crystal is the key to treasure and it is the only thing that connects the Kasahano family. Hidden in the treasury are weapons with which it will be possible to defeat all 5 shinobi peoples. Then Naruto intervenes in the conversation and says that he will not allow this to happen. But Dato's bandits quickly apprehended Naruto and his clones. Noticing Naruto's large supply of chakra, Dato decides to attach an apparatus that controls the chakra to it, and now that Naruto is trying to use the chakra, he is electrocuted. Kayuki gave the crystal to Dato and it turned out that this crystal was fake. It turned out that Kakashi replaced the original crystal with a fake when he viewed it on the ship. He was asked to go and find Kakashi, but Dudo said that they themselves would come for the princess and for their shinobi. As a result, Naruto and the princess were placed in a dungeon in cells opposite each other and the guys talked a little about Spring. Naruto pulled a file out of his shoe and started sawing the chain. He said he had no intention of giving up. He managed to break the chains, but it turned out that the prison bars were energized and as a result, Naruto lost consciousness. Immediately thereafter, Dato's castle was attacked by Team Number 7. Guards running alongside Naruto saw that Naruto was unconscious and opened the cage. But the cunning guy pretended and got rid of the guards. Then he freed the princess and they took the elevator, where they met Kakashi, who gave the original crystal to the princess and they all went to the exit together but got into the Dato hall. Kayuki ran up to him and handed him the crystal. After that, she said that she played the role all the time. Next, she took out a knife and stuck it in Dudo. Dato began to strangle her and she and her uncle fell from a height. But it turned out that Dato had improved chakra armor under his clothes. Dato grabs Kayuki and climbs up the building. Naruto clings to them and flies with them. In flight, Dato spots Naruto and cuts the rope, causing Naruto to fall down. He is picked up by the film crew and decide to let him down. At the same time, Sakura and Sasuke are fighting bandits. Sakura defeats Miser with a snowstorm technique, and Sasuke defeats Fubuki with a lion's combination. Kakashi turned on the Raikiri and broke Ryoga's armor, then finished him off. By this time, Dato and the princess had already reached the treasury and Dato had discovered it with the help of a crystal. It turned out that the weapon was a giant generator emitting heat. Then Naruto appeared, but Dato blew him up, causing a crack to appear on Naruto's bracelet. Dato hit Naruto and he fell through the ice. Sasuke appeared and with the help of a Chidori cracked Dato's armor. Naruto at this time asked for help from Nine Tails and he agreed to give him strength. Naruto created a bunch of clones, but in response, Dudo created a storm of a black dragon. Naruto created a Rasengan, and at this time 7 colored chakras began to be reflected on the pillars and the Naruto Rasengan absorbed it. Naruto Rasengan sends Dato into flight. All the snow disappeared and everything was covered with greenery. The princess remembered what she was like as a child, at this moment when her father handed her the crystal and she finally recognized Naruto. With that, the first film came to an end. And if you do not want to miss the next film, be sure to subscribe and put a like.